That's what we are trying to do with our urinary system, okay? So we're regulating all of these various things, all kind of at the same time. So we're able to do this because of our kidneys' just remarkable ability in those nephrons to basically push out the stuff that we don't want, and then using all of the various receptors we have in those places, reabsorbing the things that we do want. So we want to get rid of as much urea as we possibly can. We want to hold on to things like sugar and stuff like that. Now, we use water for lots of things, okay? We use water to lubricate joints. We use water to give certain cells like muscle cells that are mass. So we have lots of very important functions for water. So it's very important that we kind of maintain all this stuff. But also dissolved in that water are a whole bunch of really important molecules that we use for chemical signaling, whether it's your ions and electrolytes that we use to actually do work, like to do stuff. Calcium is really important in making sure our muscles can function. We use sodium and potassium, remember, to send electrical signals down the links of our neurons and down through our muscle cells. We use things like potassium, magnesium, phosphates as charged molecules that are going to be both in proteins, but also are going to interact with stuff. So we can use all these ions to do bunches of work. However, we need to make sure that these are also really highly maintained, because we want to make sure that we're not sending stuff into the cells. So here's an example of kind of what would happen if you have hypotonic blood. So you have way too much water in here. Water will leave blood and enter the cells and make the cells swell. Eventually, those cells can break. Now, if your body is dehydrated, that means your blood, because we have to maintain some sort of blood volume to make sure that we can keep the blood moving, your blood is actually going to pull additional water from your tissues to make sure that the blood is going to keep working and not that the blood just doesn't get too thick. So your cells can kind of wither and die from that point. So it's very important that we're able to balance all of that fluid intake. Now, typically we ingest, and this is kind of, once again, an average person, okay? So an average person is going to take in something like 2,500 overall milliliters of water a day, okay? Most of that water is going to be ingested either in the form of food and drink. So this is normally going to be around 2.5 liters. Now, this is like an average person. This is averaging massive bits of population. There are some people that drink way more. There are some people that drink way less. Like I've had more water already today than this amount, and it was just in the form of coffee. Okay, so this number can vary a lot, or actually maybe not quite more than that, probably pretty close to this. I drink way too much coffee. We also tend to eat a lot of our water. Imagine all of the foods that we have and how we like most of our foods to be somewhat moist kind of on their own. There's quite a bit of water in your foods. We also make water. Whenever we are undergoing metabolism, the oxygen that we breathe in, like I told y'all before, the oxygen you breathe in does not get turned into CO2. The oxygen you breathe in gets turned into water, okay? So because the oxygen you breathe in gets turned into water, we actually are going to produce some volume of water just because we are actively undergoing metabolism. Now, we are also going to get rid of some amount of water every day. Most, or some of that water is going to be just expired in air. We breathe a lot, right? If you breathe through your mouth, especially, you'll notice that your mouth will get dry. Your mouth gets dry because the water is going to get pulled out of it. So we actually are going to expire a fair bit of water. This is also just because the outside environment is less wet than the inside environment. So just trying to balance those things out, we're going to tend to exhale more water than we're going to breathe in, basically. Now, we are going to sweat a little bit, just on average. If you go exercise a bunch and it's 100 degrees outside, you will sweat way more. So once again, these are just averages. Your skin is going to lose some water over the course of the day. That's what it means by transpiration. Basically just means your skin drying out. You also have to use some of that water for your fecal matter, just to make sure that it is soft enough that you can pass it. If you take out all of the water, it will simply be too hard and you'll obstruct the bowels and you can cause lots and lots of problems that way. We also have to get rid of around 500 milliliters of water, or 500 milliliters of urine every day. Okay, that is basically saying this is how much water we need to lose every day just to make sure that we can get out all of the bad stuff. So we need to get rid of urea. We need to get rid of uric acid. We need to get rid of these things because they are actively poisonous to us in our body. Okay. If we do not get rid of this amount every day, bad things can happen. If you've ever known someone that is on dialysis, if you look at a patient that is typically on dialysis and they miss their appointment even by a couple of hours, you can tell. Like their bodies will just kind of start to drag. They'll start to slur words over time and stuff like that. You start to really run into some issues there. And it's simply due to the buildup of all of these metabolic wastes. So we need to get rid of around this amount of urine just to make sure that we can get rid of all that bad stuff. Then the rest of it is going to be this facultative. This means basically by choice. Like if you don't drink as much water as you need, like say you only drink 600 mils over the course of the day, that'll take care of the rest of this, but you're probably not going to be kind of urinating much excess. If you drink 7 liters of water a day, well, you're going to produce a whole hell of a lot more urine. These numbers here probably aren't going to go up much at all in that case. However, this one would. So this is the one that's usually going to be doing most of the changing whenever you change input over here. So if you drink or eat a little bit less moist things, this number tends to go down as well. Like if these numbers go down, this is also the one that's going to go down. This stuff has to be there. Now, most of this is not something that you even are aware is happening. The fact that you're exhaling air, that your skin is getting dry, other than the fact that your skin may feel a little dry, you're not going to notice that this stuff is even occurring. But the idea here is that we have to maintain these volumes. If there is more draw on the system, you are going to get thirsty. Like if your body says, hey, I need more water to do X, Y, and Z things on that list, well, you're going to drink more water. Now, you're usually going to drink more than what is necessary for the thing. So because of that, you are also going to increase in that facultative urine output. But it's very important that we can control this. Now, a lot of this is going to be controlled through a few hormones, primarily antidiuretic hormones, so ADH, as well as atrial natriuretic peptide. So that is another hormone. So these are going to be the primary ones that are going to be important for dealing with maintaining fluid and ion levels. Trying to skip this a little bit until we can get to the important stuff. So say we want to retain water and we want to retain our salts. This is taken care of by aldosterone. So once again, another hormone, a hormone found very close to the kidneys. That's convenient. Okay, so this one is what's going to be important for making sure that we have the right amount of salt in the blood. So it's just going to kind of maintain it at a certain level. So like, hey, we don't have enough salt in the system, so we're going to hold on to some of that salt. We're going to hold on to some of that water. Okay, ADH and ANP, so antidiuretic hormone, atrial natriuretic peptide. These are both going to cause us to either retain water or to increase excretion of water or sodium. Okay, so ADH, antidiuretic. Diuretic means basically peeing. So antidiuretic are going to retain the water. Atrial natriuretic peptide is kind of the opposite of that. Atrial natriuretic peptide is basically going to be the one that's going to increase the excretion of sodium. So say you go to Roadhouse tonight and you eat a chicken fried steak. Okay, you're going to eat basically 2 days worth of salt in that sitting. That's a problem, namely that there's too much salt. So what do you do when you eat something that's really salty? Your body senses that it's a lot of salt, so it tells you that you need to drink more water. Okay, you drink more water, and then what are you going to have to do? Well, we have to pee a lot. If you drink a whole lot more water, you're gonna have to pee a lot. Well, what's that also gonna be taking out with it? All of that excess salt that you took in. This way we can help control that. So this is kind of a hormone that's basically doing that kind of thing here. And this is to make sure that we don't have too much sodium in the blood, okay? Now, there are going to be some things that we expect to see in the blood, and there are going to be some things that we do not expect to see in the blood, okay? In the urine. We expect to see salt. We expect to see things like phosphates and nitrites. These are just normal things. These are normal chemicals that we have in the blood, so it makes sense that we're going to lose some of these electrolytes, okay? Potassium would be another example. You would expect to see some amount of potassium in the urine. If you eat too much potassium or if you eat too much salt, these are going to be ways that we can make sure that we can get rid of it. Now, There are other things though that are not quite the same. I'm trying to find a good picture for it. I'm having a problem. The same thing is going to go for things like acids. Now, are you all thirsty? Do y'all want something to drink? Do y'all need to go to the bathroom? Well, good. Now, I'm not going to make you drink water. I'm going to make y'all drink something else. Would you rather have Dr. Pepper, cranberry juice, or sodium bicarbonate? Huh? Cranberry juice? Dr. Pepper? Sorry, I'm just looking at what we have. Oh, dadgummit. I meant to send y'all an email this morning about not doing that. I forgot. Well, yes, because what's going to happen is like whenever you take in that excess sodium and some of that sodium gets into the tissues, well, yes, because the water is always going to follow the salt. So what's going to happen though in the urine is that we're also going to see the urine try and follow that. And yes, it's a lot. It's really not that much. It's half a liter. That's like one of those little bottles. But however, you need to drink this as fast as you possibly can. I'm going to dilute this a little bit. It's just water. Nope, there's cranberry juice. I also meant to ask y'all if y'all needed to go to the bathroom, like literally the moment that you walked in the door. Cups, y'all need cups too. Sorry, they put everything away yesterday for whatever reason. Bottoms up. So if y'all can drink that, hopefully y'all will need to go to the restroom in the next 10 minutes or so. That way we can kind of start some timers going. Yeah, it looks like a lot, but it's really not. It's gonna be like a cup and a half. You'll survive. That's like champagne. That's like maybe a little bit bigger than a champagne flute. So don't ever be impressed by like how tall the drink is. It's more about like how wide the cup is. All right. So we have one person drinking water. We have one person drinking juice. We have one person drinking soda. Now, did y'all switch? Oh, okay. I'd had the bottles flipped. I was like, why do those liquids look weird from here? All right. So, person drinking water. What do we expect to happen to like here? So we have someone that's going to be drinking, like that is drinking just straight water. What do we expect to happen to their urine? Do we expect their urine to stay like a normal like level of concentration, or do we expect it to get more concentrated or less concentrated? Less concentrated, right? That's because like we have a certain amount of solutes that we're getting rid of over unit time. We add more water, so that means we're just going to add volume, but we're still going to be getting rid of the same units of stuff. Well, so that means we expect the urine to get less concentrated. Make sense? All right, what do we expect to happen to the pH of that? So urine pH is typically going to be in the 6.5 range. Okay, a lot of variation here, depends on diet. Someone that eats more protein, it's going to be more acidic. Someone that eats more vegetables, it's going to be more basic. Okay, but we're going to be somewhere in this kind of range. So what do we expect to happen to the pH of to the person that's drinking just water? Do we expect that to change much? Not really. Like you may get a little closer to neutral just because you're maybe balancing out how much acid that you're putting out in there, but we expect it to stay pretty similar, right? 6.5. So slightly acidic. Okay. Now we're going to maintain that acidity. So we actually do have urine that is buffered. Okay. It's very, very important that urine is buffered because we don't want really crazy changes to the pH either. It's not going to feel particularly good for you to urinate pH 3 out of your urethra. That would burn all of the that would burn your ureters, that would burn your bladder, that would definitely burn your urethra, which we know we have nerve sensors in, right? That would not be fun. Okay, so we also protect these tissues by having this stuff buffered a little bit. The normal range is somewhere between 6 and 8, but it usually is going to be closer to that 6.5 range. That's because urea is urea is acidic. Okay, now we also have, sorry, my wife is calling me for some reason. Now, we also have someone that's drinking soda. Is soda acidic, basic, or neutral? Acidic, right? There's a bunch of carbon dioxide dissolved in there. We know that carbon dioxide dissolves into water in the form of carbonic acid, right? So it's acidic. So what do we expect to happen to the pH of the person drinking soda? Not higher. It's going to be more acidic, which is what you're thinking, but the pH is going to go down. Because remember, the lower the number of pH, the more acidic it is. So we expect to see some of that excess acid that we're taking in to enter the urine. Man, I really need to pee. That's why I'm kind of up here dancing, basically, because I was trying to hold it for this class. So now we know that we have one person that we expect to see it push more acidic. We have one person we expect it to stay the same. We have one person whose volume we expect to go up, and their concentration of urine, or what we're going to call the specific gravity. Okay, we expect this to probably get closer and closer to the specific gravity of water, thus more diluted. Okay, what about the person drinking soda? Do we expect the specific gravity to change much? Do we expect the urine to get more or less concentrated? Do we think that there's more stuff dissolved in that Dr. Pepper than there typically is dissolved in blood? Maybe. It's gonna be pretty close, right? Like we probably expect it to stay fairly close, or at the very least, we probably don't know enough starting out to know which direction it's going to go, right? It's kind of an unknown. So we'll just kind of wait and see on that front. That's not quite true for cranberry juice. You ever drank or had cranberry juice just like straight up? It's thick, okay? There's a lot of stuff dissolved in there. It's potent, okay? Because of that, we actually expect that to actually make our urine slightly more concentrated, okay? Just because there's more stuff in it, there's going to be more solutes, and thus we actually expect to see that specific gravity go up a little bit. We expect to concentrate the urine, or we expect it to have slightly more concentrated urine, okay? All right, so it is a couple minutes till 11, so hopefully y'all need to go to the bathroom. If you can't yet, so if you, do y'all yet? Not quite. We'll just wait. Yours, we won't do kind of an overtime thing. Yours will be more interesting over time. So go ahead and go. There's cups and lids over here. We could. We have some of those strips too. I don't particularly want to know those answers. Yeah, I've literally only gotten called once for those. And like, I've also never had one related to like any job I've ever had. It's kind of odd. But then again, I've also never done any drugs ever, so it kind of makes sense. What? They drug test people that weren't in sports? Really? Yeah. Huh. Oh, so they went random. All the dudes with long hair. Y'all are the ones going to the back. Like, sure, random. My yeah. All right. So actually, I will go ahead. And if y'all don't need to yet,
I mean, that's a very different problem, right? So, but color is important because color is basically going to be a signifier of concentration. The more concentrated the urine, the darker it's typically going to be. Now, healthy urine is going to range from being very, very pale yellow to the point where it is almost colorless, all the way up until a medium yellow. Once it starts to get into that kind of yellow orangey color, that tells us that we're likely too concentrated and we're starting to get into a little bit of a danger point. Now, she drank water. Thus, her urine is somewhat dilute. I had to stop because I was worried about overfilling this, and I probably would have. But that's because I've been drinking coffee mixed with milk and sugar. And when I say coffee, I mean I typically do like a 30 gram per half liter kind of concentration. Like it's a lot of coffee. I make strong, kind of fairly thick coffee. So it would make sense then, if that's the bulk of the fluid that I've been taking in today, that it would make sense that I would have fairly concentrated urine, right? Because I do have a bunch of solids I need to get rid of. It's actually smell like coffee, which was sorry. But this is exactly what our kidneys are trying to do. This is actually perfectly normal. Now, what is not normal is for urine to be cloudy. Okay, urine should be sterile. Okay, that's to say that there should be no bacteria or funguses or any other microorganisms or whatever living in your bladder, and thus the urine itself should be sterile. Now, sometimes it will pick up some bacteria in the outside of your urethra, at which point we have now seeded this with some bacteria, so some stuff will grow. Now, because this stuff should be sterile, though, we also don't expect to see leukocytes or anything like that in there unless we are fighting an infection. So here in a second, when we do the actual dipstick test, what we're going to see is that one of the options on there is looking at leukocytes, so looking at white blood cells. Now, we don't expect to see those because, well, we shouldn't unless we have a problem with the filter or we have a problem with an infection. Good. So the dipsticks are going to be found in this little thing right here. And what these are basically going to be a bunch of little pads. In this case, it's 10. I think the ones in the virtual lab are 8. But what these are looking at is these are basically looking to see whether or not we can see certain stuff in the urine. Now, that's because some of these things are normal, some of them are not. I've got a little guide right here we can look at to help with this too. Now, like I said, leukocyte, white blood cell. We don't expect to see that. That's because urine should be sterile. Unless we're fighting an infection, we shouldn't see leukocytes. However, if we do see white blood cells, that is indicative of a problem. Something else that this will test for is going to be glucose. Should you be urinating out glucose? No, it's food, it's fuel. That's what our tissues use to do everything. So you don't really want to be getting rid of it. The only reason that you would be getting rid of it is if you have just simply way too much for your body to be able to reabsorb. Can y'all think of any examples of, say, diseases or disorders that might cause you to have such high blood sugar that you can't absorb it all? Diabetes. Exactly. So oftentimes, one of the first places that people figure out that they have diabetes or something's close to diabetes is actually in a test like this. Because, like, hey, there's glucose in your blood or like in your urine. Did you just chug 6 liters of Dr. Pepper and that's how you raised your blood glucose so high that you couldn't reabsorb it all? Or like, did you eat a gallon of ice cream or something like that? Or, I mean, something a little bit more reasonable. Like if you eat a really, really high sugar meal right beforehand, then yes, you might see some. But is this a chronic issue? Well, if so, then you may actually have diabetes, and this may be something that we need to start treating to make sure that we can get those blood sugars down to where your kidney is able to reabsorb it correctly. We can test that on here. So if y'all want to go ahead and come back here, I will show you. And you're only gonna have to keep one. Up there, we made them do it for like 2 hours. You'll need to. You drink enough water, you'll probably. So you'll probably need to. By all means, stop me. That's fine. All right. So what we're gonna do here, on this test strip, like I said, we've got 10 different tests. Let me go through.
Let me just give away vital medical information here. Oh, shit. Yeah, sure. That's exactly what I was. Oh, nope. There it goes. All right. So on here, we've basically got 10 different tests. Now, leukocytes, nitrites. Well, we don't expect to see leukocytes. We do. We might see some nitrites, especially if we have like a diet that's rich in them or something, like if you eat some bacon or something like that. Urobilinogen, this is basically a product of blood breakdown. You shouldn't see that in the blood, okay? That means that we're basically having like blood breakdown products. This is also a larger protein. So we don't expect to see those, okay? Protein in general, we also don't expect to see. Some is okay, but not a lot. That's because, once again, remember that our glomerulus has those little filtration slits in those podocytes that are basically blocking even small proteins from leaving. So if we see protein in the blood, that usually means that we have way more protein moving through the bloodstream than we actually need, okay? Or that it's kind of overloading our ability to stop it from leaving. So we shouldn't really expect to see protein in there. It can also be a signifier of high blood pressure, basically that you're basically having to push so hard at those filtration slits that some of those proteins are leaving. pH, like I said, we should be in this kind of 6.5 range. So that one's going to be there. Blood. Should you find blood in your urine? That's different. That is a different circumstance because that's not actually in your urine. It basically, you see it at that point. That's different than it actually ending up or being in your bladder, right? Because remember, those filtration slits, they're stopping small proteins. They're stopping whole cells, full stop, right? We should not see any full cells. So we should not see blood. Now, in the case of if you are menstruating, if that is happening, then yes, there will be some blood, but it won't be in the urine necessarily. You'll just see some drops of it that have fallen into the urine, but that's different from it actually moving through your urethra. Does that make sense? Okay. Because that stuff should be all vaginal at that point. Now, specific gravity, like I said, this is just a measure of concentration. This is basically just straight water. It's going to probably be higher than that, but how much higher is going to tell if it is incredibly concentrated or less so. The more stuff you add to the urine, the higher its specific gravity is going to get because it's going to make it less and less like water. Ketones. Ketones are basically going to be breakdown products of fatty acids in the absence of sugar. So if someone is on a keto diet, they know that they are on a keto diet because their blood starts to contain a bunch of ketone bodies. Okay, that means that their body is breaking down fats instead of breaking down sugars. Okay, but particularly they're breaking down fats and proteins in the absence of sugar. Ketone bodies are not normal for people that are under normal diets. They can also cause lots of problems long term, which is why the keto diet is usually not a good idea. If you ask your doctors like, hey, I want to go on the keto diet because I want to drop 20 pounds, they will tell you not to do that most of the time because it's not safe. It's also not maintainable.
So you're not supposed to see that, really?
No, you should not see ketones. Bilirubin, once again, this is a product of blood breakdown. So urobilinogen and bilirubin, these are kind of in the same cascade of breaking down red blood cells. A part of what makes our fecal matter brown is actually old broken down red blood cells. And bilirubin is kind of part of that process. Now, glucose. Glucose, we should also not see. That kind of goes back down to that diabetes thing, right? So what we're going to do here is we basically have this test strip, and all we're going to do is we're just going to dip it into the urine. Let it kind of soak in for just a second. And then we're going to let it sit for a minute. Okay, I do have a timer going. All right, so what we're doing here is each of these little pouches is basically going to contain
a site for a chemical reaction, okay? And it is going to change colors. So the reagents in here are going to change colors based off of the presence of these particular chemicals. So in the presence of blood, we're going to see the chemicals in the little color pad change to match one of these color ranges here. And if we see certain color ranges, that means we're going to see some amount of this thing in there, okay? So based off of how these colors change, it will tell us the presence or absence of these particular molecules, okay? That's just because we are letting a chemical reaction occur here. Now, once we have given it a minute, and that minute is up now, we can then hold the little guide up to the colors to see what we see. All right, so let's first check glucose, because me, as someone that has high blood pressure and having a father who has diabetes, and also as someone with an incredibly sugar-rich diet, I am concerned as to whether or not I have diabetes. So if I look, well, that is kind of a pale blue. Well, I'm certainly not any of these massive numbers over here, so negative for glucose, which means, yay, I can continue eating ice cream literally twice a week. It's not an exaggeration. Ice cream. It's like the best thing in the world. Y'all know what I had yesterday? I had ice cream, followed up by some chocolate pie, followed by some frosted mini wheats.
I love mini wheats.
This was over the course of like 3 hours, but it was still just, I eat way too much sugar. All right, anyway, all right, bilirubin, also negative. Hey, we're looking good. All right, then we get to ketones. Wait a minute. All of a sudden, I have some color. So I do have an amount of ketones, and it says that it is a large amount of ketones. In this case, it is 8.0 millimoles per liter. That makes sense. Do you know why that makes sense? Guess what I had for breakfast?
Coffee.
Ketones. It's from breaking down proteins. So I had a lot of protein for breakfast this morning. I ate like 3 eggs and some ham. So that's protein. Okay. I also had some like vegetables. Okay. But if you eat a whole bunch of protein right before something like this, you expect to see this. Now, right now, that is not a problem. This tells me I should probably check again later today or tomorrow or some other time scale when I have maybe been fasting or something like that to see if I still see the ketones, because that was when then we can see that there's a problem. Does that make sense? Same thing goes with the glucose. Seeing it once, may not be that big of a deal, may just be something we need to watch. Ketones in this case tells us, hey, this may be something I need to watch. Just specific gravity. Well, I look pretty close to this one, which means I am 1.005. So am I water? No, but I'm actually still fairly dilute, even though I have a little bit of color here. Let's see, keep going down the line. Blood, negative, yay. pH, right at 6.5. Okay, it matches kind of perfectly. So 6.5, this one here. Protein, there's a little bit of protein there. Kind of makes sense since we saw some ketones, right? We're kind of in between those two. So I have a little bit of protein, but once again, probably makes sense. Me also having high blood pressure, kind of makes sense there. Now, my urobilinogen is very, very dark, okay? It doesn't really match any of these, so it's kind of hard to read. So we'll just kind of say that that's not terribly useful at the moment, which is unfortunate. It could be that I'm over the scale here, or it could just be that I'm right here and this one's just not working quite right. Let's see, nitrates, negative mostly, maybe a little bit. I'd say that actually matches. So yes, I do have some nitrites. Makes sense though, since I had ham. When you preserve meats, one of the ways that you preserve meats oftentimes is with nitrates. So you'll see this a lot of times with things like ham, bacon, and stuff like that. However, ordinarily, if that is not the case, so say I had not had ham this morning, I should not see that, because the only reason I should see nitrites in my urine at this point is because I would have some sort of bacterial infection, because those are a product that bacteria typically produce. However, I know that this one is, today it's particularly okay, even though there's a very small amount. This is 15, that's 70, that's a big difference. Okay, I know that this amount is actually okay just because I understand that I took some nitrites in this morning. So that's not terribly surprising, okay? And then here we have leukocytes. I'd say that is negative. That's good. That means I don't have any sort of bacterial infection. Okay, so I don't have any white blood cells found. So there, basically means I need to check my protein consumption and keep an eye on that. And that also I should not eat preserved meats. Makes sense, right? But I'm not sick. I don't have any glaring issues to keep track of. Like, I'm not seeing blood. I don't have a urinary tract infection.
If we saw leukocytes or something like that, that might mean that we would have a urinary tract infection. Looking at the urine, though, we could also tell. Okay, that's because if you look at mine, this is clear. Hers was clear. It's not cloudy. Okay, if instead it is cloudy specifically because there is actually bacteria growing in there. That cloudiness that you see could be bacteria, it could be yeast, it could be some other fungus. Not necessarily viruses, because you wouldn't see those. Maybe some protists, but typically it's either going to be some sort of fungus or some sort of bacterial infection causing it to be cloudy. So if someone has a UTI, you'll actually usually see this in the cloudiness of the urine, or what they might call turbidity. Okay, does that make sense? All right, do y'all need to go to the bathroom yet? I think it's been, oh, no, it's only been about 20 minutes. So you still have 10 minutes. So you still have 10 minutes before you're going to have to go again, or try to go again. I'll put it that way.
I gotta pee.
See, there we go. I told you you would need to. It's all that extra water. All right. So what you're going to do then is, while you're waiting, why don't we go ahead and test yours? So you can go ahead and use this pad here. There are some gloves over there. And once again, you simply open the little jar. Oh. Well, I hope not. Please don't, because that means I will have to, and I would rather not. I'm on a good, like, 5-year streak now of not throwing up, so I'd rather not do it today.
She had kids too, right?
Oh, also, in case it wasn't obvious, these dipsticks and stuff are gonna go in here. Anything that touches the urine is gonna go in here, like I got a little bit on my glove, so it's gonna have to go in there. These urine cups, so whenever you're ready to drain yours and take your next sample, just pour it out in the bathroom, rinse it out with some water, wipe it out with some paper towel, and then it should be ready for your next one. All right, that's good. Yeah, it really just makes to kind of touch it once.
The way he was so bad. I felt so bad. But it was, and she was, it was like, we had breakfast and then we had lunch, so that's kind of good running. So good thing to do it outside.
Someone threw a watermelon, probably looked like they were eating. It's like, oh god, let's chocolate good tissue. No.
That happened to me.
Beets are really bad at that. Now, yesterday, they did the same experiment, but they did it over a couple of hours with folks, and those results are actually listed up there on the board if y'all wanted to kind of look at that. So after y'all taking your samples, we'll kind of spend some time looking at those numbers there so we can see how some of these things change. But if we look at, say, Dr. Pepper, we can read the pH here. It says at time 0, it was 6.5. At time 1, it was 6. That makes sense, right? The pH went down. Why? It got more acidic. But why? Well, they drank some acid. So because they drank some acid, it makes a lot of sense then that they would produce more acidic urine, right? The one below that is sodium bicarbonate. That's what NaHCO3 is. It is a base, okay? So their time naught entry, so when they first came in, their pH was 6.5. Then after that, after they drank the sodium bicarbonate, you'll see that their pH went up to 7. It went up. Well, they drank a base. That makes sense, right? We can also see the specific gravity changing for, say, the person that's drinking cranberry juice. Basically, y'all can kind of look at those so you can see a little bit how we expect some of these numbers to change.
Do I need to write these down?
You can also just take a picture. You can hold it up to the thing. Because we're not actually for you, yes. So if you want to write the paper and you want to use yourself as one of the specimens, then yes, you will need to take a picture and write them down.
I'll take it after I'm done.
Now, as far as like the writing assignment goes, like I said, you can use yourself. So if you two are working together, for instance, on your paper, you could be 2 of the 3 specimens in the thing to talk about. So you'll still need to do the virtual lab to get the 3rd person, essentially. But you can use yourselves as subjects 1 and 2, or you can add it to it. So you can use those 3 subjects on there and just add yourself. That's also fine.
So this one
Mhm.
is dark.
Yeah, I think that test is probably not working correctly because
Okay.
these strips are old.
Some of these reagents have shorter half-life or like shorter shelf lives than others, and I suspect that test in particular is not working correctly.
Okay.
Just like the first one kind of looks soft too.
This one?
The
Top
first
one?
Yeah.
Mine looks really light, but
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that matches. Like that's
in between.
yeah, in between.
Yeah.
So between none and trace, which is fine.
I don't know, I'd say I'm kind of normal.
Perfect. That's what we hope for.
I was a little nervous. I was like, what if I find something else?
In medicine, our goal, like anything related to medical stuff at all, you want to be as close to normal as you can
That's
be.
possible.
What's my blood pressure? 110/70? Great. I'm average. Perfect. Whereas me, I cheered myself yesterday for having a pH, or not pH, a blood pressure of 128/75. It's low for me. Hmm? Do it. We are at that time frame anyway.
Jimmy, leave that there?
No, you can.
Okay.
Did you take a picture?
Yeah.
Okay. And you have a picture of the results?
Yeah.
So you know what you have on everything?
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, then now what you'll do is you'll basically take your cup in there, pour out what you had, rinse it out really well. So rinse it out with water a couple times. Maybe wipe it out with some paper towel and you should be good to go. I wish we had measured the volume, but it's okay.
Full ass cup.
No, I understand. No, trust me, I understand completely. Like I had the same thing go
Cause
through.
I
my
drink
mind.
I drink a gallon of water a day.
No, that's perfect.
I drink.
Like there's nothing at all wrong with that.
If you, can it like affect like not seeing something, like the more water you drink, like it can't hide it? Because sometimes like he's like clear.
I mean, it just makes it more like it does dilute it more. But at the same time, like if it's there, it's still there.
It's there.
Like it will still be there. Like once again, we have that obligate amount of urine that we have to put out every day, right? And that's because we have to put out certain things. So if you have leukocytes in there, there will be leukocytes. If there is blood in there, there will be blood. If there is glucose, there will be glucose, and we will know regardless. So even if it's diluted, like will the concentration of those things be low? Sure, but they'll still be present. And some of these things are presence absence. Like presence of blood is bad, period, done, the end. Presence of glucose is bad, period, done, the end.
So it doesn't need to be there regardless if it's there.
Yeah, so even if it's diluted, you'd still know. Let's see, what's another one that would be meth,
I was but
present, period, done, the end.
But I will say, not to tell on myself, a long time ago,
Mhm.
I had to do drug tests, and I got in trouble because of the amount of water I was drinking, because they said I was trying to.
That's
And I'm like,
normal, but that's because one of like some folks think that like if you're drinking more that you can try and like pass it off
yeah,
just by chance. Because like if you drink a ton of water, so say you drink a gallon of water like right before you're test so that you could like basically try and like flush whatever was in your bladder right then, hoping maybe that like that would happen. Like then, but yes, you could drop some of the numbers to where they are trace,
But it's in your system.
but it's still gonna be there. So they would still like if their test was sensitive, they would still be able to find it. And most of our tests now are very sensitive
Yeah.
to where it'd be like,
Yeah.
is it a small number? Sure, but
there.
it's still there.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that comes down to the specificity of the test.
So, hold on, I gotta.
Yeah, we're over time. Hey, it's something. But honestly, you also drink something concentrated. So we don't expect it to make you have to pee really, really bad, right? So like, we expect it to make some fairly concentrated urine. So that's actually not terribly unexpected whatsoever. I'm actually gonna go get a sip of coffee while I'm waiting on the rest of y'all. So right now you basically want to be taking notes of color, like color and cloudiness. So is it colored, or yes, what color is it? So is it light yellow, like real pale yellow, or is it more clear? And then also the is it clear, like transparent, or is it cloud? And then you, if you want, you can go ahead and start doing the dipstick test too. I kind of figured you were going to wait for her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, we'll also take a measure of the volume just for giggles.
Do I need to let mine sit, or do you want me to go ahead and strip?
You can go ahead and do this.
So, detox that people do, that they drink it the same day as the they get the test. How's that?
but it doesn't work. So, like almost all of those things are completely bogus and don't actually work. There may be some amount of efficacy, but like if someone was really worried about trying, like actually cared about finding out for sure, like they would just make you take the test on multiple occasions. And usually that's what would happen in a case like that. Because most of those detoxes are going to involve lots and lots and lots of water. Like that's the primary flush is essentially what they're trying to do. Now, some of them may have some sort of chemistry involved where they're trying to bind it to some of the byproducts or something like that to keep the byproducts from being visible. The problem is that a good test, like I said, if they are genuinely worried about it, they would recognize the presence of the detox chemicals.
Mhm.
And that would be a sign that says, hey, they'll probably need to take this again. Or also just once again, the volume of the urine. Like if they feel like the volume of the urine is so high or the concentration of the urine is so low that they didn't get an adequate test, they order a second test. So usually that's how those detoxes work. From my understanding anyway, I'll put it that
Yeah. You said you wanted us to write down the color and what else?
way. The color and clarity.
He tried.
All right, so once again, color, clarity, and then we can test it. So go ahead and grab some paper towel, and then we can use dipstick. Did you get anything? No. It happens. Was hoping we would, just so that you can see that the pH does indeed go down. You're like, is low, makes it more acidic, but this also means water. Although you went to the bathroom, so that's honestly the biggest downfall. That's my fault for not telling y'all to not go to the restroom right before class. We can add that to the very long list of the mistakes that I have made.